That is the answer that is in the book. Now, I don't like that answer because that simplifies. That is 2x plus 3 over 5. For some reason, some textbooks ask you to factor, simplify, cancel, and then they, for some reason, don't want you to factor the last thing you could factor. Many of you have been in my class for more than 1 year. How often do I want you factoring? All the time. When do I want you to stop factoring? When you can't factor it anymore. Now, the problem with this is sometimes answers do this type of horse crap. And then you guys think you've done the work wrong. Don't. If I gave you 7 times 9 and asked you what the answer was, what is it? 63. If you flipped to the answers and the answers said 72, what would you do? Never mind, you would all erase your answer and write 72. That's what the answer said. Every single one of you. And I know it wouldn't be every single one of you, so don't give me any crap about generalizing you. But a great many of you would, or you would come to me and say, Mr. Myers, how is 7 times 3 72? It's one of my trick questions, like, what's 1 plus 7? I know, sorry, it's taken me this long. 22. Yeah, and then the hyperventilating. Yeah. All right, is everybody cool? If I give you answers and they look like they don't make sense because somebody from the other class had this as an answer, and then I must have done it wrong because she didn't see that that is 2x plus 6. Everybody understand? Okay. Does anyone have any questions about pages 165 to 167? Allie.
Number 5, letter C.
Number 5, letter C. Right there. Okay. So, we're going to simplify. That's r plus 3, r plus 4 over r plus 4 and r minus 1. Gone, gone. So I'm going to be left with r plus 3 over r minus 1. Now, some of you still are doing that. Are you allowed to do that? No. Because this is all one thing. All right? This is not r plus 3. This is r plus 3. Does everybody hear the difference in the way I spoke that? This, if r equals 4, what is the numerator here? 7. If r equals 4, what is the denominator here? 3. Can that simplify anymore? No. If you cancel this, you're left with 3 over negative 1, which is negative 3. Is 7 over 3 negative 3? No. So you cannot do that. Okay? That is what these brackets mean. The problem is, when we rewrite things after the canceling, we don't put the brackets there. But those brackets mean that's all one thing. It is r plus 3. Everybody cool? All right. Any other questions from 165 to 167? There's one that you should be asking me about that I'm very surprised nobody has yet. Aiden. 3L. That one. X plus 3, X plus 4 over X plus 4. Cancel, cancel. Leaves us with that. Allie.
Number 1, letter E.
Number 1, E.
Yeah.
Good. That's one of the ones I wanted someone to ask about. That one right there. So, can you factor a sum of squares? No. So that's going to be x squared plus y squared. Oh, and we only care about the restriction, so we're not even going to look at the top. So the numerator, x minus y, x plus y, yes? Because it's different squares, right? This isn't allowed to be 0, is it? So x minus y cannot equal 0. So x cannot equal y. That makes sense, yeah? If I have x is 7 and y is 7, 7 minus 7 is 0. Easy peasy, yeah? So x can't equal y. But x plus y also can't equal 0, so x can't equal negative y. No matter what I put in for x, I can't have its opposite. Or I will have 0 on this side, right? If x equaled 4, y could not equal negative 4 because that would be 0. Allie.
I'm in
Letter E? I could have sworn you said L. You let me do all that? What? That's the one I wanted you all to ask me about. Nobody needed to ask me about that one? Everyone in the other class said, sorry, E right here?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I'm actually glad you asked me about this one because this is the other one that you kids always screw up. That's factor 1, yes? That's factor 2, yes? Factor 1 cannot equal 0. What is factor 1? 3x cannot equal 0. How do you isolate x?
It's gonna be 0 over 3.
Divide by 3. 0 divided by 3 is 0, so x can't be 0. And then, factor 2, 2x minus 1 can't be 0, 2x can't be 1, x can't be 1/2. See how I turned that 2 into an x? That's slick. None of you even noticed, did you? Allie,
Oh, no.
did I get the letter right?
Yeah.
But this one, honestly, in all honesty, ladies and gentlemen, this one screws you guys up all the time. You always forget the 0 there. And it was on that test too, right? It was 4x minus 12. Or 4x and x minus 4 or something. You always forget that 0. You forgot it on the quadratics test too. Always, always, always. You forget that that's one of the factors. So now you've drilled it into your skull that you forgot about factor 2, right? Anything else from 165 to 7? Going once. Going twice. Going thrice. Excellent. Let us carry on then, cabbages. Oh, I have a question, Jacob, since you're good friends with Sam and Aaron. Can you please ask them, in what world of math does 2 stars divided by 5 equal 3? Unless star equals 7.5, but they didn't put that anywhere either.
There is something erased next to the
That's 5 below.
It sure looks like a 5.
It's like an 8 or a star. It could be a star, you never know.
A star on the bottom? Well, then wouldn't 2 stars divided by 1 star be 1 star? How does I get 3 stars? And then I have no idea what the x squared OU did okay, but the y, the x is probably a y because they wanted to write u. I'm very confused with my reviews there. Please check with Aaron and Sam and find out how am I supposed to take that as constructive. Because it makes no sense.
Maybe it's
Ashton?
something to do with processing. There's this one thing on TikTok how it looks like it's
go like this. Ah! Or this one. I messed up my kids so bad with those two. I did that one with the pencil in my ear thing on my kids, and I screamed and rolled around on the ground, and my kids were like, "Oh my God, Dad! You didn't have to do it!" Because I told them it was really going to hurt, but they really wanted to see it. I did it when they were like 4 and 2 or something, and they were like crying, and I was like, "Oh my God, I'm fine." And then they're so stupid they fell for the thumb one like 3-4 months later. Kids. Anyway. Fortunately, they'll never watch these videos. Much like my students don't watch these videos. So, okay. Let us move on. Is that a rational expression? Is it?
Yeah, rational is where it has just like an end. You can tell where it ends.
I'm just looking for a yes or a no, John. Yes, of course it's a rational expression because it's a rational number. All right? Okay. So we all know what that is. Now, we're on page 168. Midway down, page 168. Okay. If I wanted you to multiply that by another rational expression, 1/3, you could do that, yeah? Okay. So, since you know how to do that with fractions, multiplying and dividing rational expressions must be exactly the same as fractions. Now, I'm going to draw a line right here because we're doing multiply and divide today. X over y times a over b. What is the answer? XA over YB. Agreed? And there are some rules about this. There are certain positions in this expression where there's a special number that it cannot go there. Where are those? The denominators can't be 0. So Y cannot equal what? And B cannot equal what? Does everybody understand? Excellent, good. Now, let's come over here. X over y divided by a over b. Now, stop. You have not seen a lot of that symbol used since about the 5th or 6th grade, right? How do we write this now as a fraction? So this is the same as x over y divided by a over b. When we write it that way, you lose bladder control. Even though this is just this. Okay? Now this makes very little sense to us. To divide something, to divide by something, to divide by it again. What is the way we actually do this, Jacob? Yes. X over y times the reciprocal, which is, of course, xb over ya. Now, is y allowed to be 0? Finish strong, Jacob.
I was trying to see if I could.
Is b allowed to be 0?
Yes.
Is that allowed to ever be 0? No. It does switch, which means a also cannot be 0 because a ends up in the denominator. Over here, is a allowed to be 0? Yes, because it never moves. Everybody cool? Now, I'm going to take a moment and cast your minds back in time. You don't need to write this down. You just need to remember it. think back to apparently it's grade 6. I did it in grade 4, but apparently now it's grade 6. Mrs. Bad Crumble starts you off with this question. 1/2 plus 1/2 to show you how to add fractions. And you say, well, duh, Mrs. Bad Crumble, that's 1. If I have half a pizza and Jimmy has half a pizza, we have a whole pizza. Oh. Good. All right. So everyone's cool with that, yeah? Okay. Now, then Mrs. Bad Crumble moves to this one and says, what's the answer? And you all automatically say 2/5. Always. Some of you still do. Yeah, don't laugh too loudly. Every time I give fraction questions, I get a few people that add fractions this way still. Of course, that's wrong. So then Mrs. Bad Crumble gave you some toys to play with. And one of those toys was something that you could split in half. Or she drew this. Said 1/2. And then she drew this. And said 1/3. And then she said put them together. And you went like this. And then she said, what's that? And you said, I don't know. And then Mrs. Bad Crumble taught you this move. Well, isn't that 3 pieces that is still a half? And you said, uh-huh. And isn't that 2 of those 3 pieces? And you went, uh-huh. And then she said, well, isn't that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 out of 6 pieces? And you went, well, golly, it is. And then Mrs. Bad Crumble said, then she taught you lowest common denominator. And this went on for about 3, 4, 5 months. Right? And then she finally, when she torn out all her hair, because kids still didn't get it, she said, we have to move on, kids. And she moved you on to multiplying. And Mrs. Bad Crumble then gave you the exact same one. And you said, what is the answer? And you kids all went, oh, it's 1/6. Because you wanted to just go straight across like you did when you were adding. And this time, even though it didn't work here, you all still wanted to do it. And this time, Mrs. Bad Crumble said, yes, you're right. And you all went, oh. And then Mrs. Bad Crumble never said another word about why it works. Right? Because now, 2/7 times 3/4, 6/28. Easy peasy. She might have talked about simplifying afterwards, yeah? But she never went much bigger than 0 through 10 in the numerator and the denominator space, did she? Of course, we've done more number theory since then. Numbers get big, right? So if I wanted to do 365 742s times 812 968s, and you do the Mrs. Bad Crumble move, you're in a lot of trouble, aren't you? Okay. Here we are back here. Now, most of you, if it was grade 3, 4, 5, or 6, right here, you're still going to treat this like you're in grade 3, 4, 5, or 6, and you're going to go 5 times 4 over 8 times 15. You're going to get 20. None of you are going to be able to do that in your head. You're going to get out your calculator. You're going to get 200 or 120. Yeah. And then you're going to go, okay, well, that divides by 2, and that divides by 2, so that's 10 over 60, and then that divides by 10, and that divides by 10 to get 1 over 6. And it's going to take you forever. Unless you've been through my class and a few other math teachers' classes who explain to you that, but wait a minute, kid. Isn't 5 times 4 the exact same as 4 times 5? Yeah. And if I leave 8 and 15 in that order, which I can, now don't I have 4 over 8 times 5 over 15? And isn't 4 over 8 1/2? And isn't 5 over 15 1/3? And then don't I get 1/6? Yes. The trick that you need to remember is order doesn't matter. There's an 8 on the bottom. There's a 4 on the top. 4 goes into 4 once, goes into 8 twice. There's a 5 on the top, 15 on the bottom. 5 goes into 5 once, 5 goes into 15 thrice. Then I go straight across and I get my answer. Everybody has seen one of these 3 versions of multiplying, yes? There really isn't. Everybody's seen one of these, right? Now, as we just proved up here, if it works with fractions, does it work with this? Of course it does. Because even though that is barfy, if you know what the letter A is, isn't that just one single number? So isn't all of this just one single number? So if I can do any canceling, wouldn't it get a lot simpler? That's all we do. I'm going to use 4 colors. You're going to work with me at the same time. What is our first job? What has been our first job in just about every single question I've given you since September 15th? Factor. Can you factor any of those expressions? Which ones? Name the colors. Yellow, factor it. What is it? Wrong. A minus 4 and A plus 3. Excellent. Can you factor any others? Which one? What is it? Can you factor any others? Look. I don't want the thick one. Stop. Stop. A minus 3. A minus 1 over 2, A minus 4. Yes? Now, if you know A, that's a single number, yes? Is it the same as that one? So if you have the same number on the top and the bottom of a fraction, what do you get to do? Cancel it out. Gone, gone. If you know A, is that a single number? Do you see it on the bottom anywhere? Right there. Gone, gone. If you know A, is that a single number? Do you see it on the bottom somewhere? Gone, gone. What's left? A minus 1 over 2. That is the final answer. Now, what did we not talk about? We did not talk about NPVs. Where do I check for NPVs? Before I cancel. Because you are, when allowed to have a negative or have an NPV of 0? Never. So I got to check it in. I got to check for NPVs here before canceling. So, of course, A cannot be plus or minus 3 and 4. Everybody good? And basically, we're just doing fractions, aren't we? With some factoring beforehand. 4 colors again. Boom. 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 Where is there factor options in number 2? Yellow, what is it? What's next? There's no other factoring in that one? There's no other factoring in number 2. Okay, so R comes out and I get R squared minus 1 times the green one, R. Oh, pen. We're going to wait a moment while it figures itself out. R minus 1 over y, 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 plus 3, 3, 3, 3. And any other factoring? Oh, it'll catch up. There it is. Any other factoring there?
What does that even say?
That says r bracket r minus 1. You shouldn't even have to ask me what it says because you all know how to factor that green one.
No, the bottom one is so terrible.
Well, there's no factoring there. What does it say?
Why is it so bad?
Punk. Nobody can see any more factoring there? R squared minus 1 is what really? R plus 1 and R minus 1. Any canceling? Start canceling now. You guys figure it out. Hopefully my pen will start working any moment now. Working yet. Not working yet. Still not working. Anyway, what's the answer? You got y. Y plus 3 over here cancels. Y plus 3 cancels there. So I've got y minus 3 over. R up there cancels. R cancels. I'm not going to write there because that's the wall. R plus 1 stays there. And R minus 1 cancels over there. And I'm not going to write there because that's the wall. Huh? Where do I check for restrictions? R can't be 0 or plus or minus 1, and Y can't be negative 3. All right. Okay, Bill Gates. Let's see if your product's going to work for me now. Still not, of course. So you all start working on 3 while I get it on the whiteboard. Yeah! Kicking it old school. What about number 3 scares you? Pie. Shouldn't pie scare you? No, pie is delicious. Why does pie scare you? Because you all forget that pie is just a number, yes? Why do we write that symbol instead of some numbers? Because there is no number for pi, is there? It goes on forever. If we were to write that out, you'd still be writing it when you're 150. So you leave it as pi. Now, let's notice, is there any factoring to be done anywhere?
No, you couldn't.
All right, if you want to do that, sure. D, we're going to take out pi r and be left with a 2. But dude, it's still 2 pi r.
No, but then you can cancel pi on the top
But-
and cancel pi on the
Okay, I hear what you're saying. But why add this extra layer? Why not just cancel it right now? That's what I'm trying to say.
Well, said
You guys borrow problems from the future, right? what Jacob is saying is then he now wants to factor out pi r from here and be left with 2h. It's still 2 pi r h, right? Okay. What I'm suggesting is, can't this 2 pi r just all disappear?
Yeah.
And can't this 2 pi r just all disappear?
Yeah.
Leaving me with what?
D
dh over d minus 2. Is that done? Yes, it's done. Even though some of you are still going to do this, you can't. Why? Allie. D minus 2 is not D minus 2. It's D minus 2. It's all one thing. Okay? One sec. What? No. No, I wouldn't put one on my dog. Let alone on you people.
Oh, I put it on.
So, what if I had this? D plus 2, oop, I lied. D minus 2 h over d minus 2. Does that cancel? Yes. And I would be left with just h. Everybody good? All right, do we think it's been long enough? Let's see. Dun, dun, dun. We're back. What a piece of garbage. All right. So number 4 is weird, yes? Where are my factorables? What is yellow going to become? Absolutely right. What's blue going to become? X minus 4. Divided by. So what happens to the divided by? It becomes times. Where does purple go? Up. So what's going here? Up top. What's going here? Factor it. And where's green guy going? What's he going to be? Supposed to pull it away and go too slow. Now, am I at the point where I could begin to cancel? So what must I check for now? NPVs. Where do I check the NPVs? Blue, purple, and green. Why do I have to check purple? It's not in the denominator. It was in the denominator. So you have to check it both. So what is X not allowed to be? 0. Hey, you guys remembered 0. Now, is it possible you will come across a math teacher that would actually take credit away from you for writing them in a pissy order like that? Yes. It's supposed to be least to greatest. Am I that math teacher? No. No? Ish? No-ish. Not, yes-ish. No-ish. Okay? All right. Never mind. Ish isn't a person. Start canceling. Where can I cancel?
X -4.
Minus 4s are gone. Where else? Minus 2s are gone. Where else? That's it. X plus 2, X plus 5 over X, X plus 3. Now, this is the answer. This is what I want. Some of your textbooks may have that expanded for some reason. Some may have that expanded as well. That's stupid. Don't do it. When do we factor? When do we stop? No, Jake, you are expand or die. The rest of us factor. All right. 5 is going to mess with some of you because I've changed the letter. It's not going to mess with any of you, but it messes with, lesser-minded math individuals. Not any of you. You aren't fooled by that. Right? Okay. Our usual tetrad of colors. Where can I factor? All 3 of them. What's the yellow one?
C -7, C +1.
What's the green one?
C +7, C -7.
What does that become? So purple goes up. What is it?
And then in brackets you have C +7.
And what does blue become?
C +1, C +7.
What do I need to check for now? Which are what? C can't equal. Plus or minus 7. What else? 0. What else? -1. Do you need to write plus or minus 7 twice because of these guys? No. And then start canceling. -7, -7. +1, +1. +7, +7. What's left? C over C plus 7. Is it done? Yes. How many of you had to stop yourself from doing that? I hope none of you by this point. I know it gets difficult, right? You get all twitchy. You're like, hey, whew. That was close, Mr. Myers. Now, the reason we are working the way we are working today, we went over the test, it took time, is because when we get to here, something weird has really happened, yes? It's gotten stacked on top of each other. And you will notice that I have added a leading coefficient, right? Does anything change? If I gave you just this, what would you do? You're always doing math, big guy. What would you do if I just gave you that? What would you do? You'd factor, 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 and what would you do because of that? You'd flip it. Everyone agrees, right? Okay. What would you do if I gave you just that? Factor, 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 and cancel, 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 yeah? What is weird about that term? We prefer that, yes? And what bothers us about that? We don't like a negative there. So what factoring could we do there? We could bring out a negative 1 and get 2m minus 3, yes? And what would be his denominator? 1. So now that you know everything you need to do, work with the person beside you or work by yourself on that, and then we'll talk. Go. Nobody actually poops on you, you know. So I will patiently wait. When you feel you have the completed final answer, gobble like a turkey. You guys are no fun. Yes.
One time I was serving turkey, and I think it was chicken or turkey, so I asked him for chicken or turkey, and he responded by gobbling at me.
Yes! Old people are awesome. So what's the answer?
I don't know.
Still factoring the first one?
No.
Did any of you try the Thanksgiving pizza and the calf? Mr. Wimmer got it. He said it was pretty good. It's turkey and cheese and cranberry sauce. Wimmer said it was pretty good. I don't like cranberry sauce on my turkey, so, well, you know, people put pineapple on pizza. It's not that different. Okay.
I honestly remove pineapple.
Okay. So most of you should have been able to factor down, do all your canceling, and most of you should have gotten to here. Right? Here is where a lot of you will stop because you think there's nothing more to be done here. Oh yeah, sorry, -6. Yeah, thank you. The actual answer, of course, we get to finish this because in this case, why are we allowed to do something here? Yes, because it's 2m, not 2 plus m. So it's -3 over m. Is everybody cool? Is everybody good? Now, I remind you, nothing new, yeah? Just sometimes we got to factor some tricky stuff. But we all know how to factor. Sometimes it takes a little longer, but we all know how to do it. Now listen. Listen up. The bell is about to ring and I've given you no time to work because, of course, we went over our test, yes? So tomorrow, we will spend some time, tomorrow is Woden's Day, we will spend some time working on this. Wednesday, tomorrow. I said Woden's Day because that's... No, Woden's Day. There is not enough time tomorrow to do this whole page. Do some of it tonight. But there's no answers supplied to it. So most of you are going to do a few and then be like, I'm not sure if I'm doing it right. And then stop. That's okay tonight because we'll go over it tomorrow. Okay? And I'll give you some time tomorrow. Yeah, yeah? Yeah, yeah, yeah.